In the summer of 1972, Arya Jong crawled out of the cornfield in disarray and knelt before us, a married couple. We saved her, yet she told the villagers that the woman dragged into the cornfield and violated was me. Arya Jong was the only teacher in the village school. She is the hope of the entire village's education. She is the role model my son admires most. After struggling with conflicting emotions, my husband Ju Cheng advised me to consider the bigger picture. Lila Su, Teacher Jong. She's different from you. She's not married. If such rumors spread, her life would be ruined. Even if you don't think about the bigger picture, at least consider our son. I promise you, I'll take you and our son to the city as soon as possible, away from here, away from all the trouble. From then on, I became the most disgraced woman in the village, facing pointing fingers every day. 3 years later, Ju Cheng fulfilled his promise. On the day I moved out of the village, Arya Jong came to congratulate me and asked to speak privately, then took the opportunity to push me into the well. Lila Su, only when you're dead can I feel at ease, and only then can I be with brother Ju Cheng. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day Arya Jong was dragged into the cornfield. Faced with her plea for help this time, I turned and ran. The summer crops are growing astonishingly well. In the evening, my husband Ju Cheng and I were returning from visiting my parents' village. As we gazed at the vast stretches of cornfields along the way, we couldn't help but calculate this year's harvest. Suddenly, a barely clothed woman crawled out of the cornfield in a disheveled state. She stumbled and scrambled to kneel before us. A married couple. It was actually Arya Jong, the teacher from the village school. "Help me, please," before she could finish. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed from the cornfield behind her. A naked, masked man flickered in and out of sight, the bone-cleaving knife in his hand gleaming with a chilling white light. My husband Ju Cheng and I exchanged a glance, the conflict and hesitation lasting no longer than a blink. I helped Arya Jong up, while Ju Cheng picked up a wooden stick to block the way ahead. The bloody scene was too horrifying. Arya Jong and I kept our eyes tightly shut, not daring to breathe. When we opened our eyes again, Ju Cheng was swaying unsteadily, his hands covered in blood, and the person beneath his feet lay motionless on the ground, their fate unknown. Just as we were about to return to the village to call for help, Arya Jong kept kowtowing incessantly. "I can't let anyone know, or how could I ever face the world again? Please, I beg you to keep this a secret. I'm only 21. My life can't be ruined by that monster." To calm the distraught Arya Jong, we had no choice but to agree for the time being. On the way back, I took off one of my own clothes to cover her bruised skin. She thanked me with tearful gratitude. "Lila, thank you. I really don't know how to repay you." I shook my head. Doing good deeds isn't about seeking repayment. At Arya Jong's strong insistence, we didn't escort her back to her conspicuous village school dormitory but instead took her to our home first. It wasn't until late at night that she made her way back in the dark. Arya Jong had just left when Ju Cheng was about to head out. "Where are you going?" "I'm going back to check on that guy. Even if we don't call for help, at least we should drag him to the doorstep of the neighboring village's clinic." Ju Cheng's expression was grave. I watched his retreating figure with mixed feelings in my heart. The waiting time felt incredibly long. Fortunately, just as another candle was about to burn out, Ju Cheng returned. "How did it go?" I anxiously stepped forward and grabbed him. Strangely, Ju Cheng's expression was even heavier and more complex than when he left, now tinged with confusion, a hint of relief, and a touch of regret. "Gone." I was so frightened that I immediately covered my mouth, tears falling instantly. A life was lost. How could this be? Seeing me like this, Ju Cheng was momentarily stunned, then quickly added, "The person is gone. It just rained again, washing everything away. There's nothing left in that place now." "What do you mean nothing's left? No trace of the person alive or dead? What are we supposed to do?" Ju Cheng pulled my trembling body into his arms and comforted me softly. "Let's wait and see how things develop for a couple of days." The next day, the village remained calm and quiet. On the third day, however, news suddenly spread that a woman in the village had been dragged into the cornfield and assaulted. Ju Cheng and I were startled, worried about Arya Jong's situation, and hurried toward the village at a jog. Sure enough, a crowd had gathered at the entrance of the village school, and right in the center was Arya Jong. From a distance, I couldn't make out what Arya Jong was saying, but I could clearly see the tear stains on her face, worried. I moved closer. The villagers turned and saw me, then recoiled as if I were something filthy, keeping their distance. At that moment, Arya Jong's words drifted into my ears. That evening, some villagers had seen the three of us. I wasn't wearing an outer coat, and Arya Jong was walking with heavy steps. Today, they discovered trampled traces in their cornfield again, which led to the rumor that a woman had been assaulted there. But when the villagers questioned Arya Jong, she claimed the victim was me. I don't know the details. When I passed by, Lila was sitting on the ground crying, and brother Ju Cheng had just chased the attacker away. That beast seemed to have knocked Ju Cheng unconscious first, then dragged Lila inside. Luckily, Ju Cheng woke up later. I wanted to come back and get help, but Lila is a woman after all. This kind of thing would sound bad if it got out. That's why I took her home first and comforted her for a long time before returning to school. I froze in place, my voice trembling with shock and anger, barely sounding like my own. What did you say? The gazes around me burned like fire, and I felt my blood rush violently to my temples. Ju Chengyi was also filled with immense anger. With one arm around me, he pinned Arya Jong against the wall with the other. Try saying another word of nonsense. It was clearly you, brother Ju Cheng. If you dare to say it, I'll tell everyone you're a murderer. Let's see whose fate is worse, mine or yours. Arya Jong threatened and cajoled in a voice only the three of us could hear. Brother Ju Cheng, I'm not the kind to bite the hand that feeds me. Just now, I said that bastard ran off after you beat him to protect you. Ha, even if that scum was still alive, he wouldn't be stupid enough to come out and testify for you. So you're stuck being the murderer. As for the body, who knows if it was eaten by wild dogs, or if you burned it, buried it, or tossed it in the river. Ju Cheng's breath hitched, fury flaring like a tongue of fire to its peak in an instant, only for conflict and reason to douse him like a bucket of ice water the next second. He stared fixedly at Arya Jong, his eyes filled with equal parts fury and disgust, yet also an absurd hint of wavering. At that moment, their 7-year-old son Anan found his way there, seeing the teacher he admired and respected most being bullied into a corner by his parents. He burst into tears and began hitting us with all his might. War, bad daddy, bad mommy, don't bully teacher Jong. My heart feels as if it's being torn apart by a knife. On one side is the truth, on the other side is my husband's imprisonment and my son's hope for education. Ju Cheng loves me. As the whole village knows, he pursued me with grand gestures and spared no effort. If one of us had to be sacrificed, I believe he would never let me suffer unjustly. But the next moment, I heard him say, Lila Sue, I don't matter much, but so many children in the village need to go to school. Even if you don't consider the bigger picture, at least think of Anan, just this once. I swear I'll only let you suffer this one time. Okay, Lila Sue, believe me. I'll do everything to move you and our son into the city as soon as possible, away from here, away from all the trouble. I couldn't believe my ears and asked Ju Cheng in confusion, what about me? Ju Cheng avoided eye contact, not daring to meet my gaze, and with gritted teeth, painfully forced out the words from his throat. You, after all, are not the same as teacher Jong. You've been married, while she is a young woman. As if trying to make amends, Ju Cheng anxiously explained. Besides, I can say that the bastard didn't succeed in harming you before I woke up and drove him away. I can even get Arya Jong to say the same. See, would that work? Ju Cheng pleaded in a whisper. Arya Jong cried weakly. Our son was shaking desperately behind me. My world spun out of control. The sounds I heard seemed to come from the distant horizon, growing fainter, as I sank into darkness. The last thing I remember was Ju Cheng picking me up, making the final decision. That bastard didn't succeed. But he terrified Lila Sue. If anyone dares to bring this up to upset Lila Sue again, don't blame me for being ruthless. By the time I woke up again, it was already too late. After that, Ju Cheng treated me even better than before. The way he looked at me was not only filled with love but also a sense of guilt. I'm becoming increasingly reluctant to go out, afraid of others' strange looks and whispered discussions. Ju became more proactive in gathering and understanding various information to fulfill his promise as soon as possible. His quick-witted, willing to endure hardship, and also good-looking, seized opportunities like land reform and the advent of hybrid rice. Ways to make money are increasing. Ju Cheng gave all the money he earned to me. Lila Su, I'll be able to take you away soon. No one in the city knows you. Can we be like before? At night, he tentatively moved closer. After my repeated rejections, he tucked me in and sat in disappointment until dawn. As Ju Cheng's career flourished, Arya Zhong's home visits became noticeably more frequent. In Arya Zhong's heart, Ju Cheng was the only one who could play the hero to rescue the beauty, and I had taken her hero for myself. Due to the leverage and the child, Ju Cheng treated Arya Zhong with neither warmth nor coldness, maintaining a neutral demeanor. I watched the three of them sitting together like a family, sometimes chatting, sometimes blushing shyly, with the child in the middle, laughing and playing happily. It was as if I had fallen ill, increasingly unable to distinguish between reality and delusion, my tears always falling uncontrollably, regardless of the situation. Crying too much, even the most patient person would grow weary and annoyed. Lila Su, it's been so long since it happened, can't you just move forward? Then what do you want me to do? Turn myself in now, clear your name and let Anan bear the stigma of having a murderer for a father? Why can't you just let it go? Why are you so selfish? After finishing his words, Ju Cheng immediately regretted it and started slapping himself. I'm sorry, my dear wife, I deserve to die. How could I be so terrible, making you suffer and not even allowing you to feel sad? Will you forgive me? Please don't treat me like this. My dear, I really feel terrible too. You might as well kill me. Watching Ju Cheng collapse before my eyes, I wanted to redeem him, but I had already fallen into the abyss. Powerless to help, autumn of 1975, Ju Cheng deliberately chose an auspicious day, set off firecrackers, and celebrated the move. Villagers came in waves to offer their congratulations. Someone pushed open my tightly closed door. Lila Su, I have something to tell you. It concerns your husband and child. You wouldn't ignore this, would you? By then, my mind was growing increasingly hazy. Prolonged weakness had made my reactions particularly sluggish. By the time I realized there was no one around, only a well remained, there was no time to dodge, and in an instant, my body was engulfed by the icy, bone-chilling well water. I thought I was done for. Ju Cheng, realizing I wasn't in the house, rushed over in a panic. He called for help, tied a rope, and plunged into the well to pull me out. Though my life was saved, I became a vegetable. Arya Zhong casually dismissed it as me being too ashamed to live a good life, saying I couldn't bear it, and threw myself into a well. It turns out that comatose patients have thoughts. Their souls are trapped like in plaster, aware of everything, able to hear and see everything, yet unable to react in any way. Ju Cheng loved me. Typically, comatose patients surviving 10 years is already considered a long life. He cared for me meticulously, pouring vast sums of money into my care without batting an eye. My hospital room kept getting upgraded. I lay there for a full 30 years. During those 30 years, Ju Cheng initially forced Arya Zhong to take care of me as atonement, making her kneel and kowtow to me every day. Arya Zhong accepted it all. Simply because it meant she could stay by Ju Cheng's side. Ju Cheng deliberately strung along Arya Zhong's affection for him, neither accepting it nor completely pushing her away, using it to vent his hatred and torment. But later, year after year passed, more and more people were moved by the love between them. And even Ju Cheng himself began to believe it, often murmuring by my bedside that it was all fate. By playing the role of a devoted husband, he gained admiration from all walks of life and ascended into high society. During the rise of self-media, Arya Zhong made a fortune by live-streaming her daily life, caring for her vegetative wife. My son, Anan, had long since started calling Arya Zhong Mom in private. Another live stream ended. Arya Zhong threw her phone in a fit of rage. Some netizens mocked her, saying, "As long as I live for another day, she will remain nothing more than a concubine." Arya Zhong pulled a bottle of alcohol from the fridge and took a large gulp, staggering back to the bed while clutching the plush heart-shaped pillow Anan had given her. I thought, as long as I could stay by his side, as long as there was money, it would be enough. All these years I've endured. So why won't you just die? Why won't you just die? Arya Zhong cut off the indoor surveillance, her face contorted as she lifted a cushion and pressed it against my face with all her strength. A suffocating sensation rushed over me. My soul struggled desperately, screaming. A flash of white light passed before my eyes. followed by a sea of green, while Zhu Zheng's voice, both strange and familiar, echoed in my ears. Lila Su, this year's crops will surely fetch a good price. We can save at least this much. 3 fingers waved before my eyes, pulling me back to that summer, the summer of 1972. Arya Zhong stumbled out of the cornfield, clutching desperately at the tattered fabric of her chest, her face smeared with mud and tears. She knelt at my feet. Save me, please. After being reborn, there was no time for shock. I grabbed a wooden stick, thrust it into Zhu Cheng's hand, then sprinted toward the village, shouting at the top of my lungs all the way, "Help, someone. Come quickly, Arya Zhong is in trouble." I ran faster and faster. My heart pounded violently in my chest, each shout sending a painful thud through my ribcage. Instinctively, I pressed a hand to my chest, being able to run and shout. This is what it means to be alive, not a vegetable, no need to cling to life. With neither life nor death in my own hands, this time, I won't just let you suffer. I'll make sure everyone knows. I'll return what I endured tenfold, 100-fold. When I returned with a grand procession of villagers, Zhu Cheng, just like in the previous life, had someone pinned under his foot, panting heavily. Meanwhile, Arya Zhong, curled up behind the tree trunk, clenched her teeth tightly, her gaze piercing through the villagers who were fussing over her, locking directly onto me, as if I were the one who had brought her misfortune. Lila Su, how could you just run off and leave us behind? Don't you care about my life or Zhu Cheng's safety? Zhu Cheng staggered slightly, a wounded look flashing in his eyes, yet he instinctively defended me. Lila Su ran back to the village because she was afraid staying would distract me. How could she not care about me? Didn't she call for help? A few brave villagers stepped forward to check for breathing. He's not dead. Still breathing. Let's carry him and report this to the authorities. Arya Zhong burst into loud sobs, just as in her past life, using suicide to prevent the report. I can't face living anymore. Woo-woo, how am I supposed to go on like this? I'm not afraid of death. My only worry is what will happen to the village children after I'm gone. They'll never get an education, trapped in this poor, remote place forever. Don't stop me. Go ahead and report me. Let me die. Some villagers couldn't bear it and hesitantly suggested, otherwise, let's just pretend we didn't see anything and leave him here. Whether he lives or dies will be up to fate. We can't let all the village children lose their teacher because of one beast. Back then, no one except Teacher Zhong was willing to come to our village school. We must remember to be grateful. As the villagers were convinced and nodded in agreement, I suddenly spoke up. No, we must report this to the authorities. Arya Zhong glared at me fiercely, the corners of her eyes twisted upward with a nearly insane hatred burning within them. Lila, are you really trying to push me to my death? What have I ever done to wrong you? Some villagers chimed in agreement. Lila Su, we're all women here. How can you be so heartless? Probably jealous of Teacher Zhong's youth and beauty, wishing something bad would happen to her. Those who enjoy watching chaos without fear of consequences will get their comeuppance sooner or later. Zhu Cheng instinctively stepped in front of me, wanting to speak up on my behalf. He opened his mouth but then frowned, clearly thinking I had gone too far, and turned back to persuade me. Lila Su, let it go. It's none of our business. Okay. I pushed Zhu Cheng aside, glanced around at the indignant crowd, and spoke slowly. Oh no, this matter doesn't just concern you, it concerns everyone in the entire village. If we leave him here and he doesn't die, what if he slinks away and later seeks revenge on our village? Every household here has women. Will it still be safe for them to come and go? We'd be planting an unknown, ticking time bomb forever. And if he dies, it was you, Zhu Cheng, who beat him. By the time this blows over, who would still step forward to testify that you acted heroically or in self-defense? Arya Zhong, she's terrified of anyone finding out about this. Do you really think she'd testify for you? Zhu Cheng's expression suddenly darkened. The villagers suddenly understood. Who would want their own wives or daughters to bear such risks? Only when it happens to oneself does one feel the pain. This time, no matter how much Arya Zhong cried, made a scene, or threatened suicide, everyone insisted on taking the person to report to the authorities. And Arya Zhong, naturally, didn't actually seek death. She ran back to the village school in tears, casting a deep glance at me before leaving. At night, Zhu Cheng approached, with unmistakable suggestiveness. He pinched my fingertips. I withdrew my hand and turned around. A hoarse voice sounded behind me. Was it because I advised you not to get involved in that matter today? I'm sorry, honey, it was my fault. I didn't think it through properly. From now on, I'll stand by your side unconditionally. Please forgive me. Ju Cheng waited for a long time, but I remained unresponsive. He wouldn't force something that required mutual willingness, so he sighed and lay back down. In the darkness, I widened my eyes, gripping the corner of the blanket tightly. Forgive. Forgive you for tarnishing my reputation. Forgive you for allowing my son to call his mother's murderer mom, or forgive you for a lifetime of ambiguous entanglement with Arya Jong, yet achieving fame and success in the name of loving me. Absolutely unforgivable. After the Arya Jong incident was exposed, she submitted a transfer request, hoping to start anew elsewhere, but it was rejected by the organization, forcing her to remain in her position. She harbored deep hatred for me in her heart. Venting her resentment onto the child, woo-woo, Mom, Teacher Jong hit my palm for not writing my homework well, but I clearly did my best, Anand lay on my lap, crying inconsolably, looking at Anand's swollen, red palm. I couldn't quite describe the emotions swirling in my heart. There is heartache, and there is also catharsis. In your past life, you mistook a thief for your mother, and now the punishment falls upon yourself. Do you feel the pain? After all, it's my own flesh and blood. I cannot let history repeat itself, nor can I allow him to become the Anand of the previous life. Don't cry anymore. Mommy will get justice for you. When I went to ask for Anand's leave, I happened to run into Arya Jong and a few parents talking at the classroom door. Upon hearing my reason for coming, Arya Jong snorted with a sarcastic tone. Lila Su, I know you dislike me, but dragging children into adult matters and willfully keeping them from learning culture with me will ruin their future. After hearing this, the parents began to criticize me disapprovingly. What kind of mother are you, keeping your child out of school? Do you want them to farm the land their whole life like you? I know that child Anand, she's really smart. What a shame to have a mother like that. Hearing me being accused and mocked by the crowd, Arya Jong curled her lips smugly. However, my next sentence froze her barely blossoming smile in its tracks. I didn't let Anand come to school because the teacher abused their authority to hit my child. Don't talk nonsense. I discipline the children for their own good, if they're this delicate and afraid of discipline. Then from now on I'll just stick to teaching during class and won't manage anything else. Whether they want to learn or listen is up to them. What does it have to do with me? Arya Jong's words shocked the parents, who immediately began voicing their opinions. Teacher Jong, please don't be angry. Our child isn't spoiled. You should discipline them as needed, even if it means scolding or spanking. We won't utter a word of complaint. That's right, Teacher Jong. You shouldn't throw out the whole pot of soup just because of one bad apple. Teacher Jong, don't stoop to the level of those who don't know what's good for them. We all understand and support you. Arya Jong, having made her point and gotten her way, gave a satisfied hum before turning to head off to class. But I raised my hand to stop her. Don't go, I haven't finished speaking. My son Anand was beaten with a wooden stick by you under the pretext of poor homework. And his hand is still swollen like a bun in the clinic. The child has suffered both physically and mentally. I demand that you apologize to Anand now. Ha, a teacher apologizing to a student. What are you thinking? Hurry up and leave, don't disrupt my teaching here. Other parents nearby also impatiently shooed me away. I stood still, my tone turning cold. I've brought Anand's homework. Comparing it with the other students' work will show whether it's well done or not. Then we'll see if I'm being unreasonable or if Arya Jong is just picking a fight to vent. With that, I walked into the classroom and slammed the homework on the desk. The students gathered around curiously, and upon seeing it, they couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "How wonderfully written! When will I ever be able to write like this? Anand writes so well. Why does the teacher still scold him?" The children's words drifted into the ears of the parents who had followed them in. They all turned their heads, comparing it with their own children's homework, then silently looked at Arya Jong in confusion. I put away Anand's homework and addressed the other parents. Let me clear things up for everyone. Arya Jong resented me because I insisted on reporting the matter to the authorities. And she took her anger out on a 7-year-old child. From now on, everyone should be careful. If you've ever gossiped about Arya Jong's situation, Make sure to check your children thoroughly when they come home from school, don't let them suffer for no reason. Two parents in the group turned pale on the spot. They were the village's notorious gossips. They couldn't even wait to get home and immediately stripped their own children's clothes right there. Sure enough, one had cane marks on their buttocks, fresh ones overlapping old ones. Another had needle marks on their inner thighs, already reddened and inflamed. The children were so frightened they burst into loud wails. Woo-woo, the teacher wouldn't let us tell our parents. We were too scared to speak up. At this point, the two parents wouldn't stand for it. They grabbed Arya Jong by the hair, pinned her down, and started beating her. Arya Jong was no match for the sturdy farm women. Pinned to the ground and slapped repeatedly from both sides, her face was soon covered in blood. The elderly principal had to personally rush over to intervene before he could pull the enraged parents away. After hearing the whole story, the old principal severely criticized Arya Jong. He demanded that she apologize to the student and write a letter of guarantee. Otherwise, he would report the incident to the organization, resulting in disciplinary action against Arya Jong. Arya Jong turned pale with fear and tearfully apologized to the student. I caught up with the old principal as he was leaving the classroom. Principal, you can't just skip reporting to the organization because she apologized. The old principal sighed helplessly, shook his head, and said softly, "Sigh, at best my threats might work on Arya Jong. But the organization wouldn't care about reports from this backwater place anyway." I froze. This only strengthened his resolve to leave this place as soon as possible. Arya Jong was finally forced by me to apologize to Annan and write a letter of guarantee. After this incident spread, parents became particularly concerned about their children's school situation. Under high pressure, Arya Jong never dared to repeat the offense, but after this incident, Annan could no longer admire and trust Arya Jong as she once did. The attitude towards Arya Jong is worlds apart. Instead, she's become more affectionate and dependent on me. Mom, do you know, right now, you're a huge hero in my heart. A teacher apologizing to a student. I never even dared to imagine such a thing, yet you actually made it happen. Mom, don't worry, when I grow up, I'll definitely protect you just like you protect me, and I won't let anyone bully or wrong you. Annan's transformation brings me great comfort, allowing me to feel more at ease in pursuing what I truly want to do, weaving, farming. Each day is busy yet fulfilling, and while our family's life improves day by day, Ju Cheng's smiles grow fewer with each passing day. More than once, he has voiced his confusion. Lila Su, marrying a man is supposed to mean clothing and food. You're making me look useless like this. Everyone in the village says I can't support my wife and children, that I rely on my wife to earn money. Have you ever considered how I feel? I set down the work in my hands, turned around, and spoke calmly. I make a decent living with my own hands, without stealing or robbing. What's wrong with that? But this way you make me feel unworthy of you. That's your problem, not mine. Ever since my rebirth, I've maintained a cold attitude toward Ju Cheng. He was like a trapped beast with no way out. And now, hearing me say this, blurted out in anger, "What's yours or mine? We're husband and wife, one family. If you're keeping such a clear account, do you not want to be with me anymore?" I froze for a moment, then took off the bronze ring and gently placed it on the windowsill. The sound of metal hitting stone was brief and crisp, like the final note of Ju Cheng and my marriage. Ju Cheng's face instantly turned as pale as paper, staggering unsteadily before steadying himself against the wall. His lips trembled violently, his face filled with fear and regret as he spoke urgently. "Honey, don't joke like this. What couple doesn't have their arguments? It's my fault. I shouldn't have been so chauvinistic, letting my pride get the better of me. You've worked so hard for this family, and instead of supporting you, I complained. It's all my fault. Please don't be angry. Honey, I'll never do it again. Lila Su, look at me. Say something, please. Don't treat me like this, I'm begging you." Ju Cheng's forehead was covered in fine beads of sweat as he gazed at me uneasily, his entire being bearing immense pain. But divorce was never an impulsive decision for me. It was something I resolved to do the moment I was reborn. Ju Cheng, I'm serious. Let's get a divorce. Why, what did I do wrong? Ju Cheng's eyes were red, and he even knelt down to beg me. Lila Su, I love you. Don't leave me. Don't abandon me. We still have Annan to think about. At least consider Annan. in my previous life. When I was the woman falsely accused of being violated in the cornfield, Ju Cheng persuaded me in the same way, to think about the child, to endure. I listened, and what did it get me? So, in this life, I won't endure anymore. I'll put myself first in everything. But I don't love you anymore. A child is not the shackles of marriage, nor should it be a reason for compromise. Whether we're together or not, you'll always be the child's father, and I'll always be the child's mother. That's an unchangeable fact. You can still be a good father, but you can't force me to be a loving wife to you. Ju Cheng was not a man without temper. On the contrary, his pride was sky high, and in his previous life, after climbing into high society, he became even more ambitious and decisive in his actions. That he could humble himself to beg me like this now truly took me by surprise. Ju Cheng leaned against the wall to stand up, his fingers pressed against it, turning white at the knuckles. His self-respect wouldn't allow him to plead endlessly, even if 1,000 words of don't go surged in his eyes. No matter how unwilling he was, in the end, he could only force out a single, strained okay. From his throat. On the day of getting the divorce certificate, the old-fashioned wall clock in the office ticked away. Ju Cheng, dressed in blue work clothes, wore a stern expression. His hand gripping the pen had veins bulging, hesitating to sign. The clerk grew impatient and adjusted his glasses. Have you made up your mind or not? If not, go back home. Don't waste our time here. Ju Cheng turned to look at me, his silent plea for the last time. I ignored it. Ju Cheng, sign it. The pen tip pierced the paper heavily, the name smudging into a blur. The clerk withdrew the stamp, all in one swift motion. After that day, Ju Cheng moved out. He left the house to me and Enon, and moved in with his childhood bachelor friend. In the 1970s, there were no divorces in the countryside. After the villagers finished mocking me, they mocked Ju Cheng, and when they'd had their fill of laughter, they dispersed. Perhaps it was the shock that did it. After the divorce, Ju Cheng became a different person, more aloof and more ruthless in pursuing success. Soon, he built his own new house in the village. Gradually, matchmakers began visiting him to propose potential marriages. Evening was Ju Cheng's fixed time to visit Anon. He deliberately rolled up his pant legs to reveal a brand new pair of cloth shoes. Anon, sharp-eyed, asked curiously, Dad, who made these cloth shoes for you? Aunt Li Shufang gave them to me. Ju Cheng spoke while observing my reaction. And seeing that I remained unmoved, he pursed his lips in disappointment. Huh, Dad, why is there a pen in your pocket? Your teacher Arya Zhong left it behind during her home visit. I picked it up but haven't had a chance to return it yet. Hearing the name Arya Zhong, I froze for a moment as if by reflex. This subtle reaction was keenly noticed and misinterpreted by Ju Cheng. After a moment of thought, he slowly continued. Teacher Zhong often comes to visit Dad at home to show her concern. I genuinely have a physical aversion to the name Arya Zhong, so I simply dropped what I was doing and turned to go inside. The faint sound of casual conversation between father and son drifted in from outside. Why did Mom leave so suddenly? Who upset Mom? Remy Ju looked thoughtfully toward the house. His voice tinged with a hint of delight. Mom is upset because she cares about Dad and doesn't want him to get too close to Teacher Zhong. From that day on, every time Ju Cheng came to see Anon, he would deliberately or casually mention Arya Zhong. Teacher Zhong is cultured and treats Dad well. What if Dad married her? Although that incident happened before, it wasn't her fault. Besides, Dad isn't a young man anymore, and is quite a good match for your Teacher Zhong. With this connection in place, you'll have an extra layer of security at school. Ju Cheng took great pleasure in sharing his new romance with Anon. He praised Arya Zhong for being gentle, considerate, neither domineering nor aloof. I knew Ju Cheng was trying to provoke me, to make me regret agreeing to reconcile, but having struggled so hard to climb out of the abyss, how could I possibly turn back? Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong began their relationship openly and boldly, yet after dating for nearly half a year, Ju Cheng still hadn't proposed, driving Arya Zhong to despair. Her methods of pressuring him into marriage were endless. Ju Chunglian didn't even get a chance to break up before being labeled as a heartless man. When he looked at Anon again, his expression was extremely awkward. He told Anon to play by herself and walked straight toward me. Lila Sue, I might be getting married, just say the word, and I'll bear any criticism to be with you again. I looked up at him. This angle strikingly resembled the scene from my previous life when I was a vegetable. Lying on the nursing bed watching Ju Cheng and Arya Jong entangled in love and hate. I once loved Ju Cheng, and I believed he deeply loved me too, but given a second chance at life, I can forgive my own flesh and blood, giving an another opportunity. But I couldn't forgive Ju Cheng. Congratulations, have you set the date? The 7th of next month. Ju Cheng's eyes were bloodshot, staring intently into mine, trying to find evidence of my insincerity, and joked resentfully, "Don't forget to come for the wedding banquet when the time comes. Without you, she and I wouldn't have made it." I shook my head. A flash of delight passed through Ju Cheng's eyes, his voice trembling uncontrollably. "Lila Su, you don't want me to marry her, do you?" I knew it. The 7th day of the Lunar New Year is an auspicious date, but unfortunately, I'll be moving that day, so I won't be able to make it. I interrupted Ju Cheng's words, extinguishing the last glimmer of hope. "Moving? Move where? Why have I never heard you mention this before?" Ju Cheng was at a loss, revealing an unspoken anxiety and panic. "Moving to the city. Over the past 6 months, I've been selling woven goods there and made connections. I found a job at a weaving factory that provides food and accommodation. The factory has a school for employees' children, and can receive a better education and have more opportunities for growth, and so can I." Ju Cheng's eyes were empty, his face ashen. His voice was hoarse as he mustered the last of his strength to force a bitter smile. "Is that so? Then, that's good, very good." On the 7th day of the new year, I hung a string of firecrackers at the door. Their crackling sound echoing through the village. Under the envious gazes of the villagers, I arranged the belongings on the carriage and settled down with Enon in my arms. Just as I was about to set off, a fiery red figure darted in front of the carriage and stretched out its arms to block the way. "Lila Su, where is Ju Cheng? How can you be so shameless? Ju Cheng and I are about to get married, yet you keep seducing him endlessly. Are you satisfied now? His runaway, woo-woo. Where have you hidden him? You want to go to the city and live a good life as a family of 3, leaving me here to be laughed at? No way." I raised the horsewhip, its tip cutting through the air with a sharp whistle. It landed heavily on Arya Jong. "Do you think I'd care for a man I threw away myself? What you desperately want isn't even qualified to be a backup option for me. Giddy up." This time, Arya Jong didn't dare to stop him again. She covered the spot where she had been struck and sobbed. Later, it was said that Ju Cheng was still found by Arya Jong, who forced him to marry her by threatening suicide. After moving to the city, no one knew where Ju Cheng got the news from. Under the pretense of visiting the child, he comes once a month. The last time, his cheeks were sunken, his eyes dull, and he struggled to ask me for money. Arya Jong learned to play mahjong and secretly lost all the money I had saved. "I need funds to get by these days. Lila Su, could you lend me some money? Once I sell this batch of goods, I'll pay you back with interest right away." Compared to the glorious life of his previous existence, the Ju Cheng bowing his head before me could hardly be described as anything but downcast. Yet the path was one he chose to walk. Arya Jong was his own choice. Then the cost and consequences should naturally be borne by oneself. Your cash flow problem wasn't caused by me, and I'm not obligated to pay for it. Ju Cheng opened his mouth, anxiously trying to explain. "I know it's not your fault. Actually, the last thing I want is to borrow money from you." But Arya Jong secretly borrowed money from everyone in the village for mahjong behind my back. Now when I try to borrow again, no one is willing to lend to me. "Lila Su, I really have no other choice but to come to you for help." Ju Cheng probably thought saying this would make me feel sorry for him and soften my heart, willing to hand over my savings. But all I feel is pure satisfaction, watching the person who, in my past life, hurt me under the guise of love alongside Arya Jong now in such a pitiful state. All I want to do is clap my hands in delight. "Go, Ju Cheng. From the day we divorced, everything about you has nothing to do with me anymore." Ju Cheng opened his mouth but ultimately made no sound. He turned to leave with heavy steps, pausing at the corner as if something held him back, yet he lacked the courage to look back. As I closed the door, a gust of wind squeezed through the crack, whimpering like someone's stifled sob. Ju Cheng lost his credit for failing to make the payment on time, and no one was willing to cooperate with him anymore. Seeing that he couldn't make money, Arya Jong complained and cursed at him all day. Ju Cheng didn't tolerate her either. and the two often ended up fighting after exchanging insults. A fellow villager who came to the city for the market vividly reenacted the scene, playing both roles. Ju Cheng, are you even a man? How am I supposed to live like this? What's the matter? Am I not as good as that beast in the cornfield at pleasing you? Then go crawl back to the cornfield and find him. Why do you keep sneaking into my bed every night? Ju Cheng, you're not human. How could you say such things to me? Don't think I don't know. You're still hung up on Lila Sue, even calling out her name when we're together, but she's long since dumped you, doesn't want you anymore. She's living it up in the city, with a job and men lining up for her. Who knows, maybe she's with someone 1,000 times better than you right now. The villager made a choking gesture, his tone dripping with schadenfreude. Oh, Lila Sue, it's such a shame you didn't see it. Ju Cheng was choking Arya Zhong so hard. His face looked like he wanted to kill her. Arya Zhong's eyes rolled back, drool spilling everywhere. If we hadn't been watching from outside and rushed in to pull Ju Cheng off, Arya Zhong would have been a goner for sure. After we pulled them apart, Ju Cheng was still shouting at the top of his lungs, "Let me go. I'm going to strangle her. If it weren't for her, how could my happy family have fallen apart? If it weren't for her, how could my business have failed? She ruined everything for me. She deserves to die." I listened as if it was someone else's story, chiming in at appropriate moments to keep the conversation going. And then what happened? Later on, Arya Zhong was spineless, utterly infatuated with Ju Cheng. No matter how he hit or scolded her, she just wouldn't leave. As for Ju Cheng, it's like he became a different person. He used to be such a good kid, but now he's frighteningly gloomy. The villager leaned in closer. Lowering their voice, Ju Cheng doesn't hit Arya Zhong anymore, nor does he scold her, but every now and then, he takes her into the city, and each time, they come back with quite a bit of money. Rumor has it, he's making her do that. You know, the fellow villager winked and curled his lips in disdain. The village school finally hired a new teacher and fired Arya Zhong. With no job left, Arya Zhong simply gave up and resigned herself to Ju Cheng's demands, selling herself for money. Now, the villagers avoid the couple whenever they see them, finding them unlucky and disgusting. Lila Sue, you really made the right choice by divorcing him back then. Now, everyone in the village praises your foresight. When are you coming back to the village for a visit? We can all get together and have a lively meal. I used Anan's school dismissal as an excuse to end the fellow villagers' warm hospitality. On my way to pick up Anan, my steps were unusually light. Perhaps I'm the bad one. Even knowing how miserable Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong were, the satisfaction still felt insufficient, far from enough. This little pain is nothing compared to the 30 years I spent lying in bed. The year Anan started middle school, Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong also moved into the city. Using the excuse of being closer to their child, they relocated near my home. The difference is, my house is a high-end apartment I bought. Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong's place is a rented bungalow funded by their flesh trade. Occasionally when passing by, I'd always see different men coming and going, with Ju Cheng sitting at the door numbly collecting money while smoking a cigarette. One night, police sirens shattered the quiet night sky. The police blocked the door of Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong's cabin, catching them red-handed. I stood on the balcony, watching the shrinking red and blue lights of the police car below. Anan walked out of the bedroom, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Mom, I think I heard the sound of a phone dialing." In 1981, the government implemented an open policy allowing ordinary households to install telephones. At Anan's insistence, our family was among the first in line to apply for installation. The initial installation cost was 300 yuan, and call charges were outrageously expensive. This also meant that on the day the telephone was officially installed, our home was packed with visitors. Anan treasures this rotary phone dearly, wishing she could even sleep with it in her arms. I glance at the phone on the coffee table and shake my head. "You misheard, Mom didn't call. Go back to sleep." In the 1980s, what Ju Cheng and Arya Zhong did not constitute a crime and could only be treated as a violation of public security management, subject to administrative penalties. Detained for half a month and fined 1,000. By the time they were released, no one was willing to rent them a house anymore. What pained Arya Zhong even more was discovering she had contracted a disease. Her body emitted a foul, fishy stench, thick and lingering, The money-making path was completely cut off. And she begged Ju Cheng desperately to take her to see a doctor. All she received was cold disdain. Arya Jong died. She died in a bridge culvert, her body found in an advanced state of decay, with no one to claim or bury her. And no one who cared. After Arya Jong's death, Ju Cheng came to see me once. He stood timidly at the door, afraid that his dusty cloth shoes would dirty my carpet. Lila Su, I just came to see the child. I know I've wronged you. I was wrong from the start. And I don't have the face to ask for your forgiveness, but in my own way, I've avenged you and settled the score. Arya Jong got what she deserved. Does that satisfy you? I'm leaving tomorrow, starting fresh somewhere else. When I return successful and accomplished, will you give me a chance to pursue you again? I didn't want to say another word to the man standing before me. I called for Annan, and father and son said their goodbyes. Ju Cheng's fame and success never had the chance to materialize. On the day he left, a major accident occurred. Too poor to afford a train ticket, he tried to sneak onto one but was thrown from the speeding train, left in a vegetative state, treatable, yet not necessarily worth treating. Ju Cheng and I had already divorced, and his nominal wife had since passed away. The hospital had no choice but to contact Annan, faced with the hospital's notification and inquiries, after weeping in grief. Annan turned and hugged me, her voice trembling yet clear. No more treatment. I can't let him burden my mom any further, not even a little. Several more years passed, and Annan grew even more mature and outstanding. He had long been capable of standing on his own, becoming the armor that could protect me. As for me, with a substantial family fortune, pension arriving on time, both financial and personal freedom were entirely in my own hands.